All right, today we're diving into a piece of tech that's kind of been the secret engine behind the whole AI revolution. We're talking about a database that doesn't just hold on to your information, but actually gets what it means. So let's unpack how this is completely changing the game for data.
Just let that sink in for a second. That is a huge statement. We're not just talking about finding a specific file name or matching some text. We're talking about a database that understands context, nuance, the actual meaning behind the words. This is a pretty fundamental shift.
And that, right there, is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but it's the exact problem that databases like Milvus were built from the ground up to solve. And it all starts by getting past a huge limitation that, honestly, we've all been frustrated by. You know, for decades, pretty much everything we've done online has run on keywords. You type in a word, the system finds that exact word. Simple. But that's not really how our brains work, and it's definitely not how modern AI is supposed to work. And this is where you can really see the difference. On the left, you've got your traditional search. It's super literal. You search for healthy recipes, and that's the only thing it's going to find. But look at the right. This is semantic search. It understands your intent. It just knows that nutritious meals or clean eating ideas are basically the same concept. And that right there is the giant leap forward we're talking about. So to get that kind of deep understanding, you can't just use a regular old-school database. It just won't cut it. You need a completely new kind of architecture, one that's designed specifically for the age of AI. And this is it. It's called a vector database. The key idea here is that everything, and I mean everything, text, images, sound, gets turned into a big list of numbers. That list is called a vector. You can think of it like a mathematical fingerprint for that piece of data's meaning. So instead of matching words, the database is just looking for the fingerprints that are the most similar. And when we talk about vector databases, Milvus is the name you've got to know. It's the leading open source project in this space, and it was built from day one to handle the absolutely massive scale that today's AI applications demand. Okay, so how does Milvus actually pull this off? It's not magic, I promise. It's actually a really clever 4-step process. So here's the roadmap. First, it starts with something called embedding generation. That's the part that turns raw data into those meaningful numbers. Then vector storage, which is just, well, storing them efficiently. The third step, high-speed indexing, is so important. It's like creating a super smart table of contents so you can find things instantly. And finally, similarity search puts it all to work to find the closest matches. Let's dig into that first step, though, because that's where all the understanding really begins. Okay, so this first step, embedding generation, this is where the AI magic really happens. You take powerful AI models and use them to turn your data into these vectors. And here's the core idea. Things that mean similar stuff, like the phrases machine learning and AI models, they end up with vectors that are numerically super close to each other. Once you have all these vectors, Milvus uses these really advanced indexing methods to organize them. So when you ask a question, it can scan literally billions of them in milliseconds to find what you're looking for. Okay, so that's the how. But what about the so what, right? Why does any of this matter? Well, this technology is the engine humming away behind a lot of the AI tools you probably use every single day. I mean, just look at the applications. They are all over the place. From the search bar that just gets what you mean, to the recommendation engine that knows what movie you'll love next, to those really smart chatbots that can pull answers from huge piles of documents. It's all being powered by vector search. This is not some niche thing. It's quickly becoming fundamental. And the scale we're talking about is just wild. Milvus is built to search over 1 billion of these incredibly complex vectors and give you the most similar ones back in just a few milliseconds. That's the kind of insane performance you have to have for real-time AI. Now, Milvus isn't the only game in town, of course, but it does have some really key advantages. Let's take a quick look at how it stacks up against some of the other solutions out there. This table gives us a great little snapshot. The really crucial thing to see about Milvus is that it combines the flexibility of being open source with top-tier scalability and some unique perks, like GPU support for even crazier speeds. While other tools are great for specific things, Milvus is really built to be that high-performance, do-it-all foundation. And it's not just a standalone thing. It's part of a whole ecosystem. So you've got Zilla's Cloud if you just want a fully managed version and don't want to mess with servers. You've got Towie to help you actually create the vectors in the first place, and Atu, which is a nice visual tool to see and manage what's going on. It's the whole toolkit. Now, I know this all might sound incredibly complex, but what's so cool is just how easy the team has made it to get your hands dirty. Getting started is, believe it or not, surprisingly simple.
Seriously, if you have Docker on your machine, you just run this one single line of code in your terminal, and boom, it downloads and starts a complete Milvus instance for you. That's it. Step 1, done.
Step 2 is just as easy. You hop into a Python script and use this one line to connect your code to that Milvus instance you just started. The connection is live. And finally, the payoff. With simple commands like insert and search, you can start adding your data and immediately run these incredibly powerful semantic searches. I mean, in just 3 little steps, you've basically built your own AI search engine.
So as we start to wrap this up, the big takeaway is this. The whole nature of data is changing, so the tools we use to manage it has to change too. We are moving way beyond just storing and fetching information. Milvus is that evolution. It's basically a memory layer for artificial intelligence.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. You know, whether you're looking at customer reviews, scientific papers, or even just your own photo library, there are hidden connections and meanings just sitting there in your data. So the only real question is, what are you going to build to find them? Thanks for tuning in.